Hi guys, best regards from Ingolstadt. I have heard that you entered the Kamel GT Championship this year in the good old GTO car, so I wish you best of luck and a lot of success.
Road America, Spa, and the Glen. What a trio to wrap things up with. 3 classic, fast courses will challenge our vintage machinery, but more than that, it challenges the drivers. Today's task is Spa-Francorchamps, and while there's still a chance after this round of rebound, it'll certainly put the pressure on anybody left on the back foot. Who will set themselves up well? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 11 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Ducky Beard. Adam, this is a racetrack which once again looks like it's going to produce extremely different racing between the two classes.
Absolutely, Joe. Nestled in the rolling, tree-covered Ardennes forest and located about 100 kilometers west of the Nürburgring, the circuit to Spa-Francorchamps is a 7-kilometer or 4.35-mile whopper of a track with only 19 turns. This distribution of distance to turns and the lack of any real banking around this course aside from a source creates a very different driving style between the two classes today, as you said, Joe. The Nissans have the benefit of their car literally being a giant wing, so their downforce aids them through all the high-speed corners, nailing them to the track, but making the even relatively small curves dangerous. The Audi, on the other hand, is almost all mechanically grip-driven, and with the long Kamel straight needing to be taken into consideration, most drivers wouldn't even run a downforce setup if they could. You may think with the myriad of long bits that this track would be easy for multi-class, but these bits aren't truly straight, and the racing line crosses the track many times during the lap, most often on an incline. This can create coming-togethers in the fastest parts of the course that could end your day. Everyone will have to be fully committed, but very patient in order to cross the finish line. Let's see what this fast, hilly track is like in our drive in our GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Ryan Strodbeck in the GSRC Audi, so let's do a lap around Spa. La Source is going to be an excellent place to pass, but on the first lap, it can be a bit chaotic. Watch out for the over-under if you do attempt an overtake. It'll be extremely important to focus on getting to the power quickly out of this sharp hairpin. But now, we plunge downhill towards Eau Rouge. Hold it off to the right, and then aim to clatter across the curbing to the left. Get on the brakes at the bottom of the hill and use the compression for grip. Over Radillion, the car is gonna get light, but once again, managing to apply the throttle early will pay dividends down the way. The Kamel straight is an uphill climb, and that makes every ounce of momentum you carry extremely important. Cars are likely to use their opponent's draft to try to overtake as well, so you need your head on a swivel. Into Lacombe, this is one of the most popular places to pass, but the switchback of the chicane leads to some gutsy defense moves. Granted, they don't always turn out great. Up through Malmedy, we're now at the highest point on the track. We immediately head back downhill into Ravage, which invites you to try and brake later than you should. Trust me when I say you should resist that urge. Understeer will be a problem for everyone around this bend. Try to keep the car off the right on exit to set up for no-name corner. I've always found it embarrassingly easy to drift wide here and rack up 1Xs. Now we come back down into the valley and race towards Pouat. The elevation keeps dropping all the way around this double apex corner. It takes a lot of patience in the Audi waiting to get back onto the throttle so that you know you'll stay on course. At the bottom, come back across to the left to line up for Fagnes. This medium speed chicane always feels like a compromise, and neither apex tends to feel like you got the most out of it. Still, it'll be easy to lose time here, so don't relax because this is a track where you can't let your competitors gain an inch on you. Up next is Stavelot. This set of right-handers is extremely important to your lap time. The second apex is definitely much more important because, as you can see, it leads out onto the backstretch where you'll be on the throttle for a long time. At this point, you've made your bed and all you can do is minimize your steering inputs around the gentle curves. But with this being an older car, Blanchimont is definitely not flat out. That doesn't make it any easier to get it picture perfect, and a clean line will still pay off. Then we fly towards the last great place to snag a pass, into the bus stop. The four-wheel drive does allow you to get a little aggressive on the curbs, but you do still want as much rubber contacting the pavement as possible. Once you know you've got the grip available, get on that right pedal. Hopefully you've kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Spa.
You see from the perspective of our Audi drivers what it's going to be like handling around here. An understeery cart, this track is going to be a little frustrating, but let's look at the championship first before we really talk about the track and the cars together and how they're going to be feeling out there. Looking at the prototype points, that is probably the closest fight we've seen for the championship in a while, especially with just today and one more race after that left. 13 points between Albrecht and Gerber. Justin's saving grace has been that he had a drop week last round where he wrecked out and Gerber didn't get max points on him. So it stays at 13 points. In fact, Albrecht's drop weeks, other than last week, is a third place. That's how consistent he has been this season. Mukanos and Iamaki are in a nice little fight to settle out third. Rob Olenek could yet also try and disrupt that as well. There you see is our top five. What about the GTO Championship? I was looking at that, Adam. That looks just as exciting.
It is. I'm actually going to start from the bottom. Franco Scurry, doing a great job being consistent, is holding on to that fifth position over Villi Rolla, who had a bad week last week. Reed Miller, though, dropped 3 positions all the way back to that fourth because of his bad week last week as well. Jamie Hall is now in third place, only 10 points behind Joni Hagner for second. And then Phil Lake is only 6 points ahead of Joni Hagner. So you see how tight those top 4 are. Any of them could take this championship, especially with the 50 drivers we have here today.
Yeah, it is a big field, but it's not just those 2 championships that we're covering this season. As you saw by our little intro video, we've got a special one sponsored by Milk Zoo. This is the GTO Milk Zoo Championship, which is just for Italian drivers. Now, that one's spread apart a little bit, which is actually not so what we've seen for most of the season. Still 21 points, so Remigio De Pasqua could stay in this, but he's got to score good points today because 25 is the max. So if Franco Scurry outscores Remigio by 4 points, he will clinch the championship today. So those two have a lot to fight for here at Spa. And then, of course, you saw the rest of our top 5 there on the graphic. What about today's race details here, Adam? What are we looking at?
Yeah, this is round 11 of 12, so this is the penultimate round this week. This is a 40-minute race, so even though they're running the endurance setup of Spa today, it's not really going to matter. They're not going to take a pit stop. Only those who get into accidents will have to take that pit stop. And an open setup for them today, which means they can adjust the car to their liking or disliking as they choose. But they get no fast repair because this is an official session. But also, they get no incident limit, so they can go off track as many times as they like. And because this is Spa, that is definitely worth mentioning.
Now, as always, we want to remind you that if you enjoy watching the Global Sim Racing channel, you might want to check out our merchandise store. We've got some cool stuff in there, including recently we have added flat bill caps here. You can see this is our black version. We have a white version and a black version of it. And we've actually done some work on these to make sure that they are of the utmost quality. These bills are firm enough that you can put a serving tray with a complete tea set on it. I guess since we're here in Belgium, maybe you'd put a beer stein or maybe a stein full of your non-alcoholic drink of choice. There you see we've got the white version there as well too. So depending on what sort of style you like, you could go get one of those and make sure that you have a stylish new bill up there. And taking a look at the qualifying, we've got Justin Albrecht currently on provisional pole up there with Joni Hagner leading the pole in the Audi class. Still quite a few drivers yet to get their second lap. Doesn't surprise me though, Adam. The 1Xs, for our viewers not familiar, you might have to explain a little bit when we talk about incidents in 1Xs. I have a feeling we might have a few drivers even after the second lap that don't have lap times.
Definitely, yes. A 1X is when iRacing determines that you have left the racing surface in order to gain an advantage, and just generally left the racing surface in general. So that means that it can vary depending on corner to corner what they deem to be off track. But in general, you're looking at if you're touching any of the green bits outside of the curves, that's going to get you an off track around this course today.
And of course, that'll discount their qualifying lap, which is why we're seeing a lot of blanks. Albrecht coming around for that second one. As he crosses the line, he does not improve. Fabian Gerber is going to be close after him. He's starting in second right now. He will be on the front row if things stay the same, but can he take the pole away? A 2:01.3 is about half a second behind. And as he comes across, he also does not go quicker. Wow.
Yeah, that's a big development. Justin Albrecht's first qualifying lap was amazing. We're taking a look at Ben Lafter coming around the last turn. He missed the apex a little bit on both of those. We'll see what kind of time he can put in. His last was a 2:19.8, and this one is going to be a 2:21.8. So these second laps are definitely slower, Joe. It looks like the tires do lose some performance significantly after that first lap.
Hagner did go quicker on his second lap, so he's got an even greater gap. It's 0.7 of a second between himself and second place, which right now is Phil Lake, who is going to be able to finish, it looks like. Will this one count? And can he get a little bit closer, even potentially overtake our pole sitter? Let's see. It is a 2:18.3, 2/10 quicker. He's still half a second shy of Yoni Hagner. Great big differences around this track.
Jimmy Hall crossed the line with a 2:18.3, so that's half a second faster for him as well. Oh, wow. Even faster than that, so he's up to P2 now. That's an impressive lap from him.
8/1000ths between himself and his teammate Phil Lake. That is going to be it for qualifying as everybody has finished. Let's go through your starting order, which is a huge field today. Justin Albrecht is on the pole with Fabian Gerber starting in second. Ardo Iamaki in the mix once again. He could disrupt it like he did last week. Nicholas Mucanos starts in fourth with Iker Estefania. Great qualifying for him in fifth position. Aitor Sintes Guindo with a P6. Next row has Laust Olsen on the inside in seventh with Fabian Jungbluth in P8. Rob Olenek starts ninth. Top 10 rounded out by Martin Krejcik.
Kitty Ingstrom is going to start off in the 11th position with Pablo Lombardo Suarez starting off in 12th. Johnny Bell's going to start off 13th, and Donald Peak's going to start off 14th. Rafael Fraga is going to start off in the 15th position. Then we're going to have John Keefe, Nicholas Morelli, and Roy Pruitt, who didn't set qualifying times, so we're going to start up there with those GTPs as well. The GTOs are going to be Yoni Hagner on pole, with Jamie Hall dead last second, taking that secondary pole spot away from Phil Lake, who starts off at third. Ove Trangrade and Reed Miller are going to round out the top 5 for the GTOs on starting grid.
Then you get into Riley Thompson behind him and 21st overall. 21st overall. Then Rob Lukoshek. That's a new name. We'll have to see how he holds down. Thomas Valchik behind him. Then Ben Lafter and Franco Scurry. Tobias Seigner is going to be starting in 26th. Joseph Erlbach in the 27th overall position. Fabio Lotti, Daniel Sadro, and Nick Claridge round out your top 30.
P16 in the GTOs is going to be Remigio De Pasqua with Antonio Arce Diacono in P17. P18 is going to be Roberto Di Filippi, and starting off 19th is Christian Stracia with Matthias Riedel starting off in P20 for the GTOs. Greg Stefani starting off in P21. Wolf Dietrich Hoffa, Jim McGill, Lawrence Coleman, and Christo Ublev are going to round out your top 25.
After that, you get down to 41st, and of course, John Keefe going to be there. We mentioned Nenad Ivanovic joins us, Carlos Fonseca, Juan Jordusha. Not sure that we've seen him before. Fabrizio Raffa, Nicholas Morelli, Lucio Distillery, Flavio Cook, Roy Pruitt, and Simo Raba round out your 50-car field. They're already getting going behind the Porsche pace car here today. It's going to be a short pace lap around here, thankfully. However, they will not start after the pace car peels in. Again, this is the endurance layout, so that pace car will head on in here on the first entrance, but the starting line is down the hill after La Source. Thankfully, it's not like the Grand Prix course where they start on that hairpin. There you see the weather nice and cool and grippy here today. 73 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface with a little bit of wind. That could catch a few out, especially some of these Nissans in the quicker corners. There goes the Porsche pace car. So it is going to be Albrecht with control, and he goes right away. In fact, I'm hoping this doesn't cause any sort of problems down into the La Source hairpin, as the drivers are already having to brake hard into there. Green flag is now coming out as they head down the hill, very much strung out amongst our Nissan field as they head towards Eau Rouge and Radillon. Imaki gets into second because of that late start for a number of drivers caught out by that early going. Let's head to the Audis.
The Audi field got extremely strung out because of that, but that's actually a blessing for them as they go through these first couple of corners, because these can be a real trouble spot for the Audis. Everyone looks a little clean, but we actually have some accidents happening in the background. That's Joseph Erlbach, who lost it coming down the hill, but he's now getting back going, and looks like the front pack is actually a little bit strung out here. Look at that, Jamie Hall and Phil Lake chasing down our leading driver of Joni Hagner.
And this is going to be a draft race here on this straightaway, the Kamel Straight, with Jamie Hall taking the lead away from Joni Hagner this time. Is that going to repeat multiple times this race? Will things calm down? They've got a big train for this top group going all the way back to Lukoshek, who's currently 7th in that class.
And Joe, everyone's doing a pretty good job just trying to hang on to it. That front straight is the best place to pass for the Audis, but they've been able to stay in line. Looks like everyone just kind of lining up and following one after another as they go down the hill.
I tell you what, though, Justin Albrecht has made good use of this jump he got on the field. It is already 1.6 seconds ahead of Arto Iamaki. Gerber's not going to like this, because he needs to not only catch Justin Albrecht, he needs to be ahead of him. And there's about a 2-second gap between Gerber and Albrecht already. Take a look on the inside on Iamaki down at the bus stop, but he's not quite close enough. He'll stay in third.
Yeah, and he's going to have to really fight his way up there. We've seen Arto be very fast in the last couple of races, so this is actually really not a good thing for Fabian Gerber's points championship. He's going to have to make it past Arto and hold him behind him and even get up to Justin Albrecht. All of this is going to be very difficult to do.
We've now got the beginning of the Audi field coming up to the bus stop, and man, Hagner is getting awful close to the back of Hall. He had to check up through Blanchimont even, and that cost him an opportunity. You can see them breaking down into the bus stop. Lake behind them as well, the other Dirty Torque driver giving watch, but nothing doing for him that time.
And behind him is Reed Miller, who dropped 3 spots last week in the points because of his bad luck. He's now back up in that battle, and Ove Trengerade, who we've seen looking on this front battle in the last couple weeks, is on the back of that pack. And right behind him, a driver we haven't seen a lot this season, but had a lot of success in previous seasons, Riley Thompson in P6 is about 1.5 seconds back.
Oh, and we missed it, but Fabian Gerber got second. I'm checking to see where this happened. Looks like it was into Lacooms. We had a spin with Roy Pruitt as well. So there you see on screen the change of order. Let's take a look at the replay. I believe this is for the pass. Oh, I may not have got that one. So apologies. Looks like we're still live. Gerber immediately stretching away. Here we go. Now we pulled it up. Just got a slipstream. Iamaki went defensive. See, did he have to do it the hard way? Sticks with him around the outside of the first apex. Fabian Gerber, nice stuff.
That is very, very tight between the two of them going through those 2 corners there. So extremely, extremely good driving from those 2 drivers. Fabian Gerber now able to pull half a second, but that's allowed Justin Albrecht, those 2 battling, allowed Justin Albrecht to pull away by 3 seconds.
And Hagner is our leader now up in the Audis as well, ahead of Jamie Hall. Phil Lake is currently still trailing. Oh, we got a spinner behind them. Ove Trengerade catches it just before he hits the barrier. This is losing him a ton of positions. He is down to 9th spot from that.
Yeah, that is a terrifying, terrifying incident to have as an Audi. We're going to take a look on board. He's going to be able to just barely save this, but this is not easy. Look at him drifted around this corner. He slams on the brakes and just is able to keep it off the wall. That's very close.
Four-wheel drive coming in handy there for the number 18, but still didn't save him the spots, as now he's got to try and chase down Franco Scurry, unfortunately. Up in 5th place in the prototypes. Got a nice little fight between Mucanos and Sintes Guindo.
Sanchez Guido has a lot of pace right now. Nick McConnell was trying to hold him off on the long Kamel straight, and was able to do so by positioning his car down the middle of the track, forcing Sanchez Guido to go around the outside. That's what was able to hold him off.
Just behind them, out of our 007 cam, you might have spotted Jungblue just went by Olsen down into Ravage. So switch around the 7th and 8th places. Number 16, certainly looking at a fair haul of iRating today if he can finish here.
We're going to have a swap for P2 in the GTOs. Phil Lake is going to make his way past the teammate of Jamie Hall, just down the Kamel Straight. This Kamel Straight's going to be the place where you see a lot of passing in the GTOs, and you're going to see these two teammates work together to slingshot themselves past all day today.
Both of them are still fighting for that championship, don't forget. Right now, Lake is leading Hall by about 16 points, so from what I've gathered, they don't have any sort of team orders according to that, at least not in this race, I wouldn't assume. They didn't last time, as long as they didn't wreck one another. So as Lake continues on now, he's got to try to run down the Glacier Racing driver.
And that's not going to be an easy thing to do. He's got about 1.5 seconds to try and make that, to close that gap. So it's not an easy task to close a gap in an Audi, especially around this.
Ooh, we had some argy-bargy in the back of the GTP class. Olenek and Engstrom came together. Let's see if we can get a replay. This is back in the bus stop where this happened. And it was kicked off by Olenek actually making a mistake and then trying to cover him off. There you see the initial slide, and as he tries to come back to the racing line, there's a car immediately there to take advantage. That was Engstrom. Advantageous stuff there from the number 11.
Yeah, those two just duking it out in the middle of the corner and doing a great job. Rob Olenek looks like he's about to spin around. He got way too hot into that corner there at the end of the Kamel Straight.
Oof, Lacombe, unfortunately, claiming a victim. So we'll head away because second place, Gerber, unfortunately, would rather be trying to chase down Albrecht, but he doesn't have the pace today, and Iamaki is trying to get it right back as he is within a tenth or two of our multi-time champion.
Yeah, Arno is very fast on race pace. We've seen that multiple times. We know that Fabian Gerber comes into his own at the end of races, but Arno is pretty consistent throughout the race, pretty quick. We know that Gerber can get quicker by the end of the race session, but Fabian's going to have to put out his best performance right now, early on in this race, in order to stay ahead of Arno Iamaki.
If they finish where they are, it's going to be 16 points difference between Albrecht and Gerber heading into the finale. That's going to be incredibly tough for Fabian to overcome. He'll essentially have to rely on Albrecht having a bad race and either win or take a few of the first, let's see, 4 spots. Anything lower than that, he wouldn't be able to claim the championship. And Olsen's had a problem. Looks
Yes,
like
Lars Olsen, he spun it in the final, in the bus stop chicane, so he's just now recovering and able to keep going.
And after that, let's stay with the replay after that happens because the car behind him spin. I just saw. I'm not to check to see who it was here in a second. Just lost the rear end.
And then Nicholas Morelli is the one who spun behind him. He does the same thing.
Just a carbon copy. Look at that.
Yeah, it's really easy to do this because in the bus stop chicane, that's where the track has the most oscillations when it comes to camber, and it can upset the rear axle of that Nissan, and then you can get a lot of wheel spin coming out of the corner just due to raw torque. And so that's what's happening with these guys. They're trying to power it through.
Meanwhile, got a battle for second place in the GTO Championship. And in the race as well, Jamie Hall and Phil Lake swap positions. Jamie Hall up to P2 now. As these two keep fighting, though, I have to wonder, do they need to work together? Because they are fighting with Hagner in this fight for the points lead. Hagner only 6 points behind Phil Lake. They're letting him stretch away. This is not good for both of them.
Not at all. These two, I know that they're not on comms together during these races, but they need to start working together because Joni Hagner has stretched it away to 3 seconds over Jamie Hall and Phil Lake. And also, Reed Miller is only about 1 second behind him.
Meanwhile, what's going on with Ben Laughter now? In
He's getting
7th place.
He's catching Robert Lukashek right now, and he's just a little bit too far back, I think, to make a pass. We're going to see whether or not he can gain speed here. But yeah, he's just a little bit too far back to make this pass now, but he has been closing on Rob Lukashek for quite a bit.
Still sticking with him. The draft's helping him stay in check with him. Laughter, one of the cheerleaders apparently for the new Cybertruck, as we had a little bit of a discussion on Twitter about that one. Let's see if he can find a little bit of extra power himself to try and manage to overtake this number 15. Robert, for being a driver I'm not familiar with in this series, is holding himself down well. There's a lot of talent, especially in these Audis, and sitting in 6th is no mean feat.
And we're going to drop back and take
the Milk Zoo Championship. Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, Franco Scurry's up to P9 right now, and he's doing a great job staying ahead of his Milk Zoo brethren. But back in P12 is where the battle for second place is. This is Remigio de Pasqua, Antonio Arcidiacono, and Robert Di Filippi who are duking it out right now for P12. They've been very close on the straights, and it seems to me like Antonio Arcidiacono has a better understanding of his car through the turns, saying that he misses the apex right there. But these three are definitely really close, with Hristo Ublev not far behind them either.
Interestingly, if they stay put, trying to figure out if this is going to be enough.
And Joe,
for him
Heitor
to
Sintes
manage-
Pinto has gone around in P8 of the GTPs.
This was down in Pujan. Oh, and this was traffic. We haven't talked about this, but they've been catching the Audis, especially with this large field. He gets into the back of Coleman, and that sends him around. Jungbluth is the one behind who escapes through both of them. They're in the blue and white Nissan.
And that was just that closing rate catching the best of him, just not able to recognize where the Audi was going to be in that moment. And it's going to hold up multiple cars, actually. Carlos Fonseca holding up a couple of cars as well. We're seeing a lot of different struggles. Yes, this was the one I was talking about. Iker Estefania got held up significantly behind Carlos Fonseca, who you see coming through the chicane behind them. That allowed Nick Bacanos to close up significantly. So we're going to see whether or not Nick can make something work on the Kemmel Straight.
This is where he wants to get that great exit and launch himself up the hill through Eau Rouge. Looks pretty decent, though Estefania certainly not weak off the corner. We watch through the windshield of Nick Lucanos. This will give us an idea of just how steep this climb is. Foot to the floor, sticking with him, trying to withstand the buffeting of the car ahead. And now, as he starts to gain down the Kemmel Straight, more traffic in front of him. This is Rydell up in front. Could he also play a factor in this? Estefania not able to try and get by. Now he sneaks through. Great call by Matthias to just pull aside there.
Yeah, there was no way he was going to be able to commit to the apex. He braked a little bit too late, but now these two are catching onto the back of that battle for the Milk Zoo Championship. They got 4 Audis, nose to tail, that they're going to have to get by in the most technical section of the track and the most difficult section of the track to drive for the Audi.
And again, this Milk Zoo Championship is going to be tight on whether or not it is clinched today. I need to double check, but I know at the top of this group, it is only 3 points separating. Big bobble there from Estefania, having to catch the Nissan, trying to go to the inside through Pujan. Thank goodness he didn't lose it and run into some of the nearby cars. He also didn't lose his spot. He stays in 4th place.
And that was the battle between Di Filippi and RC Diacono that we were looking at. Nicholas Morelli and Iker Estefania are coming up on that battle right now. They're going to try and make their way by as they come down the straight here. Oh no, Nick Bacanos gets collected a little bit by, I believe that was Remigio de Pasqua. He's down on top line speed now.
Was that actual contact between them?
Looked like it on my screen. Fabian Newbluth trying to snake by between these guys and catch up to Nicholas Bacanos and Iker Estefania as well as they come into the bus stop chicane.
Trying to look at his car, and I'm not seeing damage on that left side. I think it may have gotten away with it. Yet more traffic in front. This one's Ublev. He's staying off to the left to try and give them space to all get by. He's not fighting with anybody right now, but he obviously doesn't want to give up too much of the racing line. Way wide down through La Source. And now as they come down the hill, we'll see whether or not Mucanos has lost any of that top line speed for sure.
We're going to see who among these drivers has a lot of speed right now. And it's, I believe it looks like, yeah, here comes Nick Mucanos. He's going to look to the outside. Not going to work because of the lap car. He's going to try to the inside now. No! Estefania is going to cross across.
Battle here for fourth place, wheel to wheel down into the turn. Estefania outside of the second apex, but inside here into Malmedy. That doesn't matter. Momentum in the favor of Mucanos takes it away by force. Ljungblue thinks about getting into Ravage down to the inside, but unfortunately, it's not quite there for him. As all this was happening, Rob Olenek had a big accident once again with traffic, and this was through Washenwalk. I'm not sure if we got the replay for this.
Yeah, Rob Olenik's just not having any luck this season with lap traffic. You can see him recovering from that wreck now. We're going to go back a little bit more and take a look at this. Take a look at this. Lucio Distillery ahead of him, and he just catches him at the wrong point in the track. There's nowhere Distillery could have... Wow! Actually, the apex was available, but looks like Rob Olenek was trying to go around the outside, and Distillery thought that he was going to dive to the inside. That was just mixed signals going on right there.
Yeah, that silk cut turned into something of a deep cut, unfortunately, into his ego as he falls all the way to 16th. Not last currently in the GTPs, but the last running on the lead lap.
We're taking a look at Keith Olsen, yes.
This is the battle with Olsen here, and this is for 11th place. Keith with a great run, trying to find space to the inside. Olsen shuts the door a little bit too late, and he has to step aside as John Keith now takes that 11th spot. And I don't think he's going to be under attack down here into the bus stop. Nicely done.
It was a very strong pass, something that Lars Olsen will
something
not
happened to
forget
Mucanos.
anytime soon. Nick Mucanos,
Something
yes.
big happened to Mucanos here. He's gotten turned around at La Source. I think this was all on his own.
Yep, it was a self-spin coming over this rise right here. He just comes over that rise, gets the rear tires spun a little bit, and hits the inside wall. That's going to be serious aerodynamic damage for him.
A number of cars getting by. He falls to 7th, and he's going to lose more as we come back live because Krejcik just breezes by. Same thing with Sintez Guindo, because those two are actually fighting for position currently, and they're going to be able to sneak through cleanly. Oh, and Ljungblue and Estefania came together. It is all kicking off here. My goodness. And once again, it is traffic involved.
Yeah, this was... Oh,
Ljungblue got into him. Wow, this was Engstrom. Look at that, was Engstrom sneaking through the middle. Holy
Engstrom.
cow.
What evasive maneuvers for Engstrom. Take a look on board here. He's going to come upon this at speed and going to have to decide where to go. And he splits.
This is an incredible call from the number 11.
Joe, we got to go back live because Nick Mucanos has had more problems with traffic. He's way off with significant damage. And Krejcik, oh my goodness! Krejcik and Sintez Guindo.
Wow, what is going on out there? All right, we're watching a replay. Let's see which one we see first here. This is Krejcik's incident.
Oh my goodness, that was... So Sintez Guindo had to go around the inside of a lap car, and that got him unstable for the turn. And then if we go back just a little bit further, we'll see Nick Mucanos' wreck. And Aitor Sintez Guindo, that's him going around the inside. He gets onto the curb, and that just gets his back unstable. But just a little bit behind that was Nick Mucanos getting into an accident.
Yeah, this was once again, well, it was traffic, but this time it was trying to find the Audi that started to spin. It was Flavio Cook who spun into Fabio Lotta, and that sent it into Mucanos. It was a chain reaction. Here you see he was an innocent victim in this one. There was absolutely no fault for him.
Oh, yeah, that's really tough to handle, especially when you've been having a difficult race already.
Let's go to the battle for 5th, though. Estefania still in a little bit of a battle. He's going by Lukaszek there with Fabian Jungluth actually getting held up. Wow. And Jungluth is going to have to try and hope for his own little traffic helping him. Meanwhile, Lukaszek actually under attack from Laughter there, and Laughter not able to make the pass. Our poor director's board is probably starting to smoke out there with the way he is switching around. This is so much happening.
Yeah, everyone's working really hard here, the drivers and our director, as they're all trying to just catch up with what's going on right now. We also have a battle for P4 in the GTOs between Reed Miller and Riley Thompson. Riley has been catching the back of Reed Miller for the last couple laps. We just haven't had time to show it because of what's been going on in the GTP field. But the GTPs have been seriously holding up Reed Miller, and that's allowed Riley Thompson to close this gap down to within half a second.
We don't need to go to it, but Krejcik had another off. This was in Puan, trying to avoid traffic, so that sent him down to 11th from that. Let's stick with this fight. This is great action trying to settle the spots just outside of the podium. Coming up to the bus stop, Reed Miller's got it. Thompson wants it. Reed Miller's going to go defensive to hold him off into this corner.
Joe, we've got to go to P8 in GTPs. Lars Olsen and John Keefe just had a serious moment.
Yep, it looks like they found the wall on that one. And they were going by 2 more battling GTOs. That's what cost it. That was Lukaszek and Laughter. Oh, and they actually made contact, and John Keefe loses it as Olsen spins into him.
Yeah, this is just difficult racing for all of them. It looks like the server was having a little bit of a hiccup too, which might have led to where John Keefe ended up. And look at this, John Keefe goes off on his own, and the Audis try and dodge him, and then Lukaszek just has to get into John Keefe. Yeah, looks like everyone just kind of loses a little bit of situational awareness there.
So this puts Olsen down in 10th, and that's Don Peak actually going through. So that gets him a position. That's up from 14th on the grid from him, so nicely done by the 46. Oh, as we got, oh no!
Huge accident!
That was Ublev that he got into, just getting loose over Radillion. Oh, he's trying to back up on the Corsair, and he gets across in time without hitting anybody. That was dangerous.
Yeah, Radillion proving to be too difficult for Ublev. Ublev getting extremely loose. John, look at that. Donald Peak going around the outside. It's amazing nobody else got into that.
And I think Don had to take a tow. It must not have been as good of a car as he expected there. Yep, looks like it's grabbing a little too hard, so he called it a day and has sent it into the pits.
We've seen a lot of incidents with GTPs around this track, more than I was expecting today. Take a look at this. This is Estefania and Jungluth battling it out for 5th position in the GTPs.
We haven't covered the leaders. Let's stay with this, but just an update. It is still Albrecht and Gerber at 1st and 2nd in the prototypes. Based on what we've seen, Adam, I'm thinking that neither of them can feel safe, even though we haven't really seen any issues with those two specifically today.
No, and yeah, neither of those two can feel safe. Neither can Yoni Hagner, who has a 6-second lead over Phil Lake and Jamie Hall. That's just really intense. Reed Miller and Riley Thompson are going to be duking it out here as they come to the top of this next corner. As they get onto this straight, ahead of them, Pablo Navarro-Suarez and Heitor Sanchez-Guido also battling it out in the GTPs.
Yeah, 2 pairs as they're going to come over the hill of Radillion. Let's see if they can manage to keep it together a little bit better. Looks good for the GTPs, looks good for the GTOs as well.
I don't know if Riley's close enough to make this pass on this straight. We're going to see whether or not Reed Miller defends. He goes to the middle of the track. He comes back to the racing line. Riley's looking to the inside, but he decides not to take the dive down to the inside.
So those two going to stay put. Miller in 4th, Thompson in 5th. Miller is the sort of the dark horse, I guess you could say, for that GTO championship. We'll probably want to start making a few more spots. I think where he sits right now, he's going to be out of the top spot in the championship into the last round. He's at 18 points behind. He only has to lose 7 more to the leader, which is Phil Lake. Phil Lake's in second, so he might still technically be in it. Down in 13th. Oh
my goodness.
What happened there?
It looks like that's Fabio Lotti, who has some significant damage on his left front. He's getting passed by Christian Scrossi and Remigio De Pasqua, who have been battling for the last couple laps. I was just surprised because I didn't realize how much down on top speed Lotti was.
Yeah, Lotti is one of our drivers in the Milk Zoo Championship too, by the way. So that was for position and points in that Italian fight. And I think we've been, yeah, I think you're seeing what I'm seeing now, Adam. I think it's Iotti instead of Lotti. Our poor American brains can't make the difference between an L and an I.
I think it was mostly the font base, but... Oh, jeez.
What's happening with Suarez and Guindo? Looks like they swung positions.
Went around the outside. Yeah, that was intense from Guindo going around the outside of that hairpin there.
And if we stay with this, he's going to lose it right back. Look at that, out of La Source. Watch this. This is coming up to Joni Hagner. He's going to play a part in this. It's not done. And Suarez just times this absolutely perfectly on Sintez Guindo, who is stretching away, but finds himself having to slow up.
That was Joni Hagner, the leader in the GTOs they went by.
He pulled a schlocker.
And as we're going back live, we should go back to the P4 of Riley Thompson and Reed Miller. They're side by side now. Riley Thompson was able to get the run on Reed through that on the Kamel straight. Reed Miller is fighting back.
Looks to the inside, but Thompson carries the speed with that four-wheel drive. He denies him from getting it right back, so Thompson holds down the 4th spot. More traffic behind them in the form of Nicholas Morelli. He could interrupt it as they come through what is a series of relatively back-to-back corners here. Just a little bit of a straight before they get to Pouhon. He's going to get to the inside. I don't think he interrupts him, but certainly holds him up in the middle. Oh, gets a little loose. Saves the car. Thompson had a mirror full of Nissan. It's not over between Suarez and Sintez Guindo. Those two still trying to sort this one out. Coming down into the bus stop chicane. Sintez Guindo looking to go around the outside, but he is denied. Suarez fends him off. Oh, there's a car stopped on the track.
And that holds them both up just a little bit, allowing Suarez to get away. But Sintez Guindo, we've seen how good he is on the brakes into this first chicane. He's able to do it again, close up just a little bit. Let's see whether he can get a good exit here.
Stays with him. Let's stay with this battle here for a moment as they come down the hill and through Eau Rouge. Can Sintez Guindo get the launch off the hill that he wants? That looks very good. Suarez a little wobbly off the crest, and the momentum is in favor of the number 32. It is a drag race down to the braking here for Lacombe, and under braking, it looks a little bit better for Sintez Guindo. He gets a nose ahead, but he doesn't have the pass done quite yet. Suarez thinking about the inside, but through Malmedy, he gets chopped off, and Sintez Guindo finally gets that 7th spot.
And while he's getting that 7th spot, the battle for 7th in the GTOs is heating up as well. Ben Lafter and Ove Trangarade coming now on through Radion and Eau Rouge onto the Kamel Straight. We're going to see who gets the best run here.
Well, it's certainly going to be a draft for Trangarade as they climb up the hill. Lafter is basically a sitting duck here. Trangarade up to the outside. He's going to have to do pretty similar to what we saw with Sintez Guindo. And he is indeed going to do it. Oh, he's a little deep into the corner. He holds on to the slide and he parks it at the apex.
Perfect move from Trangarade. Even though he went in a little bit deep at the corner, he put the car exactly where he needed to be to keep Ben Lafter from making that pass. And look at how loose these cars get. Oh, contact between the two of them.
It is a fierce fight here for 7th. Might have to step away. In fact, let's step away because Jamie Hall, in a fight with Phil Lake, his teammate, wheel to wheel down into Fanye's as they get more cars coming up behind him. John Keefe trying to pick his way carefully through without interrupting this battle. Up ahead of them, that is not for position. That's Flavio Cook. So that is a lapped GTO.
Yeah, Phil Lake's GTO is extremely loose, Joe. Around these corners, he's having some serious trouble keeping that car underneath him. Looks like he's got that the drive set all the way to those rear wheels, and that's causing them to spin under braking a lot. He hasn't quite adjusted the brake bias to adjust for that. Jamie Hall has a much more stable car, but Phil Lake is still quick.
We're down to less than 10 minutes to go in this race. It's gone by so quickly with so much action going on. Oh, Laust Olsen just had contact with our other fight that we were watching with Ben Laughter, and they both managed to get away with it, but just barely.
This is going to hold off Ove Trangarade.
That's Lukashek. Oh, that's for position. Lukashek was off course there in front of him, and we got a bad exit there from Trangarade as Laughter's going to get to the inside down to La Source. Olsen in front of him as well, trying to get by Lukashek. It is just chaos out there right now for these drivers trying to figure out what is going on.
So Ben Laughter makes it by Ove Trangarade, but at the wrong point on the track. This is going to, look at this. Lukashek gets holed up through Radion, and that's going to make him slow over Eau Rouge. But look at this, Ove Trangarade's got a run. He's got a really good run right now as they go side by side behind Lukashek.
Laughter fends to the inside. This is going to be difficult. Could he box him in potentially there with Lukashek up in front? He's going to try as they both break for Lacombe. Side by side into the corner. Who is going to be able to come out ahead? Ahead of them, Lukashek probably watching in his mirrors, hoping he can pull away. Nobody willing to give up. They stay wheel to wheel. Trangarade currently to the outside as they break downhill into Ravage. Little bit of a ghost touch between them as he slides into the corner. Ben Laughter slightly ahead as they come through No Name now.
And that's Justin Albrecht behind them, the leader in the GTPs. He's got to make his way through this clean. Now that they're single file, he's going to be able to do that. But is Ben Laughter going to cut him off through the turn? No, he breaks early. That allows Justin Albrecht to go through.
Albrecht going way off course. In fact, Albrecht spinning. Albrecht losing the car. Just as Laughter gets into the back of Flavio Cook.
It saved it.
Oh my goodness. What a slide from Albrecht. We're going to watch this one more time. That gap that he had pulled was his saving grace as he is still ahead of Gerber.
What?
Tokyo Drift from the Nissan. And he's 4 seconds ahead of P2. So he will continue to gap him in the points.
I have never seen a GTP driver save it in a drift like that. We got to go back to Ben Laughter and Ove Trangarade.
Laughter ahead of him right now as they come out and through Blanchimont. Just behind them, this is Fabian Gerver, the next one in that fight for the lead in the GTP class. He, again, does not want to lose time between these two GTOs. Trangarade with not a good enough launch to attack Laughter coming up to La Source here. So this gives a little bit of a gap for Gerber to sneak in. Gets one. Can he get the other before Eau Rouge, though?
Yeah, that held up Ove Trangarade significantly. He's going to be able to get Ben Laughter before Eau Rouge. So Fabian Gerber is pretty clean, and that's not going to hold up Ben Laughter too much. Ove Trangarade does have a better run, though, through the two Radion and Eau Rouge. He's going to have a good run up here through Kamel.
Starting to gain, but he's a little far back through there. It's about half a second. Closing down now, 0.3 of a second as they hit the braking. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get the opportunity here. Let's not forget that battle for second in this class between Phil Lake and Jamie Hall. In fact, Phil Lake just went off coming through Puhan. That's going to slow him up. Hall sees an opportunity. Defensive move for Phil Lake on his teammate. Down into Fanye's, late on the brakes for Jamie Hall. Can he do this the hard way? Look at that! Second place taken away by strength.
A over on the outside, but Phil Lake's got a good run here. He's going to look to the outside and try and do the over-under on Jamie Hall. This is going to hold up Rob Olenek behind him. It's not going to happen, though. Jamie Hall able to hang on to the position. Rob still held it.
Don't forget that slipstream, though. He's going to get a huge dose of it here as they might go 3 wide. Could he try and block him off with Rob Olenek around to the outside? He's already had a bad day. Robbie doesn't want to get involved in this. Compromises the line of Jamie Hall, but still Phil Lake stays in third.
Phil Lake's going to have to outbrake him here into the chicane. He decides not to. He's going to try and get him on the Kamel straight instead. We know that's a couple corners away, but as a race car driver, you're always thinking about the next place to pass. Always thinking about the place where you're going to be better. And Phil Lake right behind Jamie Hall. That place is the Kamel straight past Radiano Road.
All this happening between these two has put them a great distance behind Joni Hagner, who I think might just take the points lead away after this, the way things are going. Still, as they plunge down into Eau Rouge, Lake chases Hall. Another chance with the slipstream here. Can he get the run? He is right underneath him here, Adam.
It's so tight between these two, but Jamie Hall gets a really good run as well. Phil Lake's going to have to outbrake him into the corner if he wants to try and make this pass. Let's see what he does.
They've got to be careful, racing side by side into the corner, almost coming together. But still, once again, Phil Lake going to try and use the same move that Jamie Hall used on him, going around the outside, and it just barely works, as now Justin Albrecht comes to lap them. Down to the inside, almost a little bit of a look. Are we going to go 3 wide through Rivage? Almost coming together once again, nearly understeering into his teammate. And Phil Lake manages to stay away from Jamie Hall. Down into Puhan they go. Another little peek. They are fighting oh so hard. Adam, I am worried this is going to come to blows, and they're both going to lose this second place.
Phil Lake cannot allow it to come to blows if he wants to hang on to his points lead. This is something that he cannot abide by. He either has to make this pass decisively or stay out of it. Otherwise, he's in trouble with the points if he wants to hang on to this championship.
Jamie Hall doing everything he can to keep himself into the championship. He's 10 points behind coming in. He needs to gain on Phil Lake. Those precious points to give him a chance to take it down to Watkins Glen. As they get another car lapping, Fabian Gerber catching them at a convenient spot for once amongst them. A little bit of a block as they come up to Blushimoff.
Phil Lake has got to hang on to this, Joe. He's got to hang on to it. Looks like Jamie Hall a little bit slow through the corners there, so into the bus stop. That's going to allow Phil Lake with a good advantage, but Jamie can close it up here and then try and make a pass over the Kamel Straight.
Around the corner they come, and Phil Lake finally gets himself a little bit of breathing space for the first time in who knows how many laps over the number 9. His teammate continues to give chase.
And this will be the penultimate lap for these two. This will be the penultimate lap.
Right. And not only that, but this is the best fight we've got for the top spots out of anybody in the field between either of the classes. Over the hill they go. Lake still watching those mirrors, trying to make sure that Hall can't catch him. He does have the slipstream, reeling him in a little bit to maybe see if he could put him under attack later in the lap. He gets it down to about 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, he's really close behind, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough. He's going to have to stick right behind him. We know that Phil Lake is extremely loose right now. We know he's struggling on pace through the corners. We know that Jamie Hall is better through the corners, so we're going to see this get really tight by the time they get to the bottom of the hill.
Absolutely weaving back and forth from here on down all the way until they get to Stavelo, where it finally will straighten out.
Oh, Joe, we've had contact at the back of the GTO field. That's P13, Matthias Radel, who just got into Christian Sgracia through the bus stop.
I'm going to watch the replay real quick. I'm keeping half an eye on the battle for seconds, so don't worry. We'll break in if that starts to erupt.
Just a late braking maneuver there, tried to get to the inside, and Christian Sgracia did not expect him to be there and turned into the apex, and Radel was there.
Didn't miss anything, although Jamie Hall once again regained on Phil Lake. They've got Iamaki and Olsen coming through. That's not a battle for a position. They're on different laps from one another. Still, it'll interrupt these two GTOs settling out P2 here with only a round to go after 50 more seconds are gone here. White flag is out, by the way, for Justin Albrecht.
And Phil Lake got hold up significantly. There's tons of traffic going on right now. Faster cars, slower cars. They're going to have to navigate all this as they go through the bus.
That's Simo Raba in front of them, trying to pick his own line and stay out of the way. He's going to stay off to the right down the front stretch. Again, a reminder, it ends here on this straightaway where the finish line is.
Sorry, that was Lars Olsen. I thought it was Phil Lake who was slow on the track, but Jamie Hall is just about 0.5 seconds behind Phil Lake. That's going to be enough to get the draft, but is it enough to have enough draft to make the pass by the end of the Kamel strip?
It's going to depend, I think, on Phil Lake, what kind of exit he gets. That looks pretty good for the number 7. I don't think Hall is close enough to try and run him down here.
No, I don't think he is either. He's going to try and get by, but no, they're not. He's not going to be able to close that gap close enough by the time they get into the corner.
I'm watching for Justin Albrecht to come to the finish line, so no worries to our fans of the prototypes. I know we've been focusing a lot here on the GTOs.
And Ove Trengere is going to be trying to get past Ben Lafter again. We know these two have been battling for a while. Ove's got the best run he's had in the last couple laps, but he's not going to have enough by the time they get to the break. He outbreaks him at the corner. Can he turn into the apex? No, it's too much. Ben Lafter's going to be able to get by.
We've seen that from Ove before. Just trying to take it a little too hot into the corners, but we need to go to Justin Albrecht now. Just a couple corners left. This won't be the championship clinched, but it's certainly going to make life a lot easier as they come to the Glen in just a week's time, out of the bus stop and to the line. The championship is looking ever closer for Justin Albrecht for the first time with victory here at Spa.
Fantastic work, good consistency, a couple of scary moments, but he's able to make it work. Great job from him.
Joni Hagner as well. Second in the points coming into this. What is he going to be coming out of it? That's the big question. That's going to depend on the finishing order of Hall and Lake. But Hagner right now is doing his job that he needs to do as he celebrates with a little bit of a finish flick here out of the final corner and across the line to win in Belgium.
It's close between Lake and Hall through the final corner, and it's not going to work for those two. Phil Lake's going to make it and be able to pull it off there. But look at this. Fabian Lundqvist and Ekor are really getting it into one another. Look at that. A good pass from
Estefania gonna get to the line just ahead of Ljungblöth by inches between them. And that's gonna give him a top 5. Nicely done by Ekor. That points gap between Lake and Hagner has been halved.
We got to go back to P7
in
in the GTOs because it's still duking it out between Ben Lafter and Ove Trengere. Ben's going to be able to hold on to it through the bus stop, but they were side by side making contact, and Ben Lafter's going to hang on to it. Ove coming home in 8th.
Let's take another look at that fight all the way down to the last turn between them. Incredible stuff.
They're both drifting it through the corners. Amazing drive from those two.
Love seeing those Audis get to go wheel to wheel with one another. I think that is most of our field finishing out. Trying to see if we've got any other battles on track. It's a little bit close for 10th and 11th between De Filippis and RC Diacono. This is for the GTO Milk Zoo Championship. As long as De Filippis can get through his gearbox fine, which isn't always a guarantee in these Audis, he does. He is going to claim 10th in that class.
A stout defense from De Filippi, who defended through the final part of the Kamel Straight on the last lap, forcing RC Diacono to go wide. Good defense from him.
7. Oh, and what is going on with Scarassia here? That's the second time we've seen him have problems. That's Kraytrick going through in Distillery with him.
Yeah, Scarassia getting spun by Distillery. Distillery, the gentleman, he backs off and lets Scarassia go across the line first. Look at this, a huge late dive from Distillery. That's the second time Scarassia has been spun in that corner today.
Unfortunate. Well, still great sportsmanship by our drivers out here. This has been a wild one. We're going to take a breath and a break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. If you watch on screen, you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps. The penultimate round had so much action. If you didn't watch that race, I'd say you need to rewind right now and see what happened here on Kamel GT, because you had plenty to watch and thrill you out there. Justin Albrecht, even he had some action himself. He saved a near spin coming through Puhan to take the victory by 10 seconds over Fabian Gerber to extend his gap over Gerber today by another 3 points. That should be 16 between them into the final round. Ardo Imaki fought Gerber for much of this race, and he wound up in third. Couldn't quite take one over him. Kitty Ingstrom with a fourth from 11th on the grid. What a climb for him. Iker Estefania with a top 5 right at the line. Fabian Jungbluth fighting him all the way to take 6. Aitor Sintes Gaindo. He's another one that could not relax for much of this race. Saw him a bunch of times. He was 7th, with Pablo Suarez fighting him a lot of the way, taking 8th. Nicholas Morelli got 9th, and Martin Pretrick rounds out your top 10. Adam?
First car lap down is Johnny Bell in 11th position, with Rob Olenek coming home in 12th after his troubles. Laust Olsen after his troubles as well, coming home in 13th, and John Keefe in 14th. Then we get to the GTOs. Yoni Hagner coming home with the win today. Very commanding when he was out away from the field the whole day. Philip Blake and Jamie Hall duking it out for second and third, with Philip Blake taking it over Jamie. Riley Thompson, a fairly quiet day, some battles with Reed Miller, but was able to hold on to that fourth position rather. Reed Miller coming home in 5th, and Robert Lukacek coming home in 6th after a contentious day from him.
Ben Laughter wound up 7th in his class, and it's Ove Trangrade behind him in 8th. Those two, another that were side by side into the final corner to settle that out. Franco Scurry was 9th behind him, and then 10th in that group was Roberto De Filippis. That might be just barely enough for Scurry to take the championship. I don't think so, though. Antonio Arce Diacono finished 11th in his class, with Remigio de Pasqua in 12th. And it's Matthias Rydell in P13. Carlos Fonseca finishes 14th, with Fabio Lada in 15th, and Christian Scoracia 30th overall and 16th in class.
Lucio Distillery comes home in 17th after allowing Christian Scoracia to cross ahead of him after their last lap contact in the chicane. Lawrence Coleman coming home in 18th in class, with Fabrizio Raffa in 19th. 20th is going to be Wolf Dietrich Hotto. And then we have Simo Raba in 21st, with Tobias Segner in 22nd, Mick Claridge 23rd, Flavio Koch in 24th, and Jim McGill in 25th. And then we have Donald Peak after his accident. He comes home in the 15th position in class and 40th overall.
Apparently I'm being blamed for that one. Then we get into DNFs behind there. Juan Jorduca, Christo Hublev, Nicholas Mukanos, sad to see him this far down. Greg Stefani, Rafael Fraja, Nenad Ivanovic, Daniel Sadro, Joseph Earthbach, Roy Pruitt, and Tomas Valchik. So we've got some drivers ready to talk to. I do believe we have our winner we've got our second place in the GTP class, Fabian Gerber, ready to talk to us. Fabian, you didn't quite get the pole. In fact, you were way off in qualifying time, and Justin seemed to scamper away. Even if you didn't have to fight with Iamaki, do you think this one was kind of a foregone conclusion and Justin had you on pace?
It's hard to say, because I already lost the race at the start. I didn't find it quite okay, the start, to be honest. So I lost one position because of that, because I had to drop back and landed in the trooper hole, so I couldn't accelerate at all. And, Justin was a bit fast, yes, but at Spa, if you can hang on in the draft, you can also stay behind a faster car. So maybe there would have been a chance, but it's really well deserved from Justin, this win, so it's no worries at all.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the start. In most series we cover it, when they run this endurance layout, we've seen them have sort of a gentleman's agreement to not go until after the source. Was there anything talked about ahead of time for that? Because it seemed to catch everybody else out.
Yeah, I actually asked in the forum, and I was told that we start before La Source, so that would have been totally okay with me. But Justin let himself fall behind me, so I didn't know where he was and how far back he was. So I had to slow down as well because I couldn't risk a black flag. So then I dropped down to too low revs, so I couldn't accelerate. I would prefer to have a gentleman agreement in cases like this, to be honest.
That's understandable. This unfortunately puts you pretty far back. I think it's 16 points is what it's going to be coming into the final round at Watkins Glen. How does that affect the way that you're going to be racing that one?
Not at all. I just drive as fast as I can and try to have fun. And I don't need to win to have fun. So it's gonna be a race like anyone else, every other race. But of course I'll try my best again. But I think it's the championship is over. But that's not a problem for me. Justin was just very strong this season, hard to beat. So that's well deserved.
Great words there from Fabian Gerber, our second place finisher. Clearly admires as much as he loves to try and beat Justin Albrecht. But up next, we got our winner and the GTO class. Adam has caught up with Joni Hagner.
Yeah, Yoni, a very commanding win today. After those first couple of laps where you were swapping places with Jamie, you took off with it. What was the secret to your pace today?
Well, I practiced at like 1.5 hours today, so yeah.
Yeah, a fantastic pace, and you're chipping away at Phil Lake's points lead. I believe you'll be only 3 points behind him going into the next round. Are you seeking out that win in the next round? Do you think you're gonna have the pace on it?
Well, I don't really know, but today was a good day and had a quite a scary situation with the lap at Audi, so I'm glad that I was able to finish.
Yeah, you had a great finish today. And in those opening laps when you're battling with Jamie Hall, how worried were you that it was sort of, 1-on-2 with the two dirty Turk guys behind you? Were you concerned that was going to be a problem with such a long drafting straight like Kamel?
Not really, because I know that I was faster today. And on the first lap, I kind of let Jamie pass because I didn't want to risk any unnecessary things on the first lap. So I was taking it easy.
Very confident, very measured driving from you, Yoni Hagner. Is there anyone you want to thank today before we let you go?
Well, I want to thank Ville for yeah, being a good teammate and putting some pace to me.
Well, it's fantastic talking to you, Yoni, and congrats on the win today.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Yoni Hagner, our winner in the GTO class. And next up, we have Phil Lake, who came home in second after duking it out with his teammate Jamie Hall.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this means that it is down to 3 points by our math between Lake and Hagner coming into the final round. Phil, you look like you had fun out there, but I can't help but wonder if you feel like you lost out on an opportunity to make things a little bit nicer going to the Glen next week.
Seeing Yoni's pace in practice, I kind of already knew I didn't have a chance. We tried to get in front of him on the Camel Straight on the first lap and see if we could keep him behind, but no chance really. Yeah, so now it's down to 3 points, which unfortunately means if he wins next week and I come second, we'll tie and he'll win with more wins than me. So, yeah, not looking good.
Yeah, definitely going to have to put a lot of practice in this week, it seems, to try and outpace him. Still, let's talk about this race itself. Not only did you have to deal with the fight with your teammate out there, the traffic today, at least from our perspective, was just a monster. What was it like inside the car with a 50-car field out there?
From my perspective, it wasn't too bad. I had a couple of moments with Nissan's passing into Puon, which was a little bit scary, but other than that, it was wasn't too bad from my cockpit. So, I mean, these races, I actually enjoy these races where we have a huge field just because there's so much that could happen, and you really have to have your wits about you.
Well, it's still awesome to see you fighting for the championship all the way down to the final race. What are your thoughts about Watkins Glen? Is that kind of a strong track for you? Does that kind of help you out there?
I wouldn't really say I have any particularly strong tracks. My pace is kind of all right-ish most places, so I think with the draft, hopefully I'll be able to stay closer than today. But I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to try and get in front as soon as I can and try and stay there.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask for sure, but still, we'll watch out for it. Best of luck next week, and congratulations on a podium today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
That was Phil Lake. Clearly not optimistic about his chances in a week's time, but a driver that also had fun out there today. Riley Thompson apparently lost a little safety rating. Adam's going to see if he can lick his wounds with him.
Yeah, Riley, it was good to see you racing today. And first question I want to ask, is this a one-off race, or can we look forward to seeing you next week at the close of the season?
I don't know, I'll try and make it when I can. I think next week I'll definitely try and make it. I love Classic Boot, so I think it should definitely be on my schedule.
Awesome. Well, you had I said in the post race that you had a quiet race, but I'm not necessarily sure because Reed Miller was challenging you for quite a bit of that race. How was it in those opening laps and through the first half of the race, racing against him?
Those opening laps is just kind of trying to get used to the car and traffic again, but through the race it's just working on consistency and just trying to work at Reed.
So with 50 cars on track today, how difficult was the traffic? How many Audis and GTPs were passing you and you were getting past throughout that race? How difficult was it to navigate?
Nissans actually felt pretty normal. I mean, it felt about the same as a 30-car race, but a couple of the Audis, it was definitely interesting with how close we got to them.
Definitely. It looked like you were starting to gain your pace back towards the end of that race. Do you think you could have anything for those top three going into the next round?
I hope so, but I guess we'll actually see once we get there.
All right, Riley, is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go today?
Yeah, Black Box for sponsoring this amazing car. We just got openwheels.com on here too, and Pixeldos for making this amazing paint.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Riley, and we look forward to seeing you next week at the Glen.
Thanks, guys.
All right. That was Riley Thompson, and now back to you, Joe.
And I think I'm just double checking our instructions here. It sounds like we are closing things up. Yep, looks like we are done today, unfortunately. So we're going to thank a few people before we go. Of course, a big thank you goes to the Kamel series for bringing us back for another season of coverage. You can see why we're glad to have them back because we have a lot of fun covering these, as much as the drivers have driving them out there on track. But also, we want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And also thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can also check out our social media. We have Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. We also have a link to our merch store there, so go and give that a look. But you have a link down below at gsrc.storenv.com. Make sure and subscribe to our channel when you get the opportunity. That is also just below this video on YouTube. The next race, as we mentioned, it is going to wrap up at Watkins Glen. Neither of the championships are decided. Make sure and tune in on November 30th. That'll be a week from now on Saturday at noon Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.